Greetings and welcome to the Silver Wisdom Guidance with Counselors YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Joseph Farrell. I thought we would take a little adventure going through magic money together. You see, I was in high school and graduated in 1957, public school, government school, and they taught me absolutely nothing about money. Nothing. And going through life, I've been examining that area and I need more information. My children went through high school and they too learned nothing about money. My great-grandchildren are the same, and so on. Even today, the high schools do not teach anything about money. We use money every day. Where does it come from? How does the government use it? How does the government get it? What's that about? We need to find out about that information. It's important to us because our cities, the city you're in right now, your county, your state, and the federal government all have money. Where do they get it? How are they using it? Do we need to know about that? I think we do. I didn't know a thing about it. And we elect people to go to our city government to manage the money. Our county, the same, the state, and the federal government. We need to know more about it because we need to know those people need to understand about money like they probably don't, just like we don't. I know that sounds strange, but that's the way it is. And what does the U.S. Treasury do? What's that all about? And we know our federal government spends trillions of dollars. Trillions. I can't even imagine that. So I thought we should explore that together. Let's go through this adventure together. Sit back and relax. We'll use my expertise. I have a degree in business administration, majored in accounting. I worked for a CPA firm. I was a treasury agent with the IRS. I was in banking. And I had a small business for over 20 years, so I know a little bit about it, and I'd like to explore that with you. So sit back and relax, and we'll do a little bit of educating and investigating together. It's about time we talk about government. I know that's so exciting. We're all just going crazy waiting to talk about government, but it is really important. The reason I say that is because we were never taught about government in high school. And even today, we don't even, maybe not even recognize what our government is really about. Which government are you asking me about? What am I talking about? The city you're in, the county you're in, the state you're in, and the federal government for the nation. That's government. City, county, state, and federal. Now, got to tell you a little story. When Barack Obama was elected president the second time, about 2013, this interviewer from a television station in Chicago went up to a black lady and said to her, how do you feel about Obama being elected? And she said, great. And he says, well, what's great about it? She says, I got a free Obama phone. And he said, oh, really? And where did Obama get the money to pay for it? And she says, I don't, from Obama stash. I'm not picking on her. That is the level of understanding, pretty much, that we have in America today in our adult citizenry. The children need to be brought up to understand what it's about. But that's what she said. Now, where does money come from? How does the government get it? I know you've already said taxation. Don't use that term. Do not use taxation. Just a minute. Government does not get its money from selling washers, dryers, doesn't get its money from selling smartphones, automobiles, clothing, or anything else. That's right. Government doesn't sell a service. Not accounting, not a doctor, not a lawyer, no services. Government is not set up for that. So let's find out, analyze a little bit about where it gets its money. It gets it from you and from me and our bank account. That's right, by force. We've consented to it, but if you don't pay it, it's by force. And by the way, out of your paycheck, the government deducts your withholding. That is your taxes, your bank account. Before you pay your rent or mortgage, before you pay your electric bill, gas for your car. Government takes the money early, doesn't sell anything, takes it from you and me. You say, well, we know all about that. I know you do. But you don't hear people say it. You need to say it. Now that the government in the city, your city, and those people who run the city, which is usually a mayor and the city council, or the county, which is the county commissioners, or the state, the governor, the senators, and the representatives elected to run the state, or the federal government, the President of the United States, U.S. Senators, House of Representatives. Those people have control of the money because government has what? No money until it takes it out of your paycheck and my paycheck and our bank accounts. That's right. So now we know those folks are supposed to be taking care of it. In addition to that, we think about, well, what are they going to use it for? Well, in your city and your state and actually county, federal government, they're to build the bridges, maintain the roads. Oh, need water and sewer, do you? That's where it comes from government. And those things to regulate the county, the city, to make sure that it doesn't get out of whack. And, of course, we have to have people to keep control of those who are out of control. Call police, fire. So that's what the money is used for when it's collected in the cities, in the counties, and for the state and federal. You say, well, now, wait a minute, on the federal, yeah, that's right, the military. But stay with me, because now we need to know that you can also have our elected folks who are to take care of this money that's being collected out of our bank accounts and paychecks. They can also give it away in welfare, aid to dependent children, women who have babies and they can't take care of them, so the government's got to do that. Oh, by the way, you're doing that. The government doesn't do that. It's out of your money and my money. That's right. Aid to dependent children is now called TANF, TANF, temporary aid. 5 years, we pay 5 years out of our paycheck to make sure that woman and her babies are taken care of. Only 5 years. Oh, Section 8 housing is another one. By the way, that way the federal government, along with the state, pays those people who make very little money, pays for their rent. That's right. The government pays under Section 8 housing for 70% of the rent, and you, as the renter with a low income, pay 30%. Here's the way it works. Are you ready? If I'm going to go rent an apartment for $1,000 a month and I get Section 8 housing, I pay $300 a month. And the government, through all their money that the government has, pays $700 every month. You get it? That's out of your bank account and mine, because government doesn't have any money to pay the $700 a month. In addition to that, illegal aliens come across the southern border. We have about 6 million, I think, this past year, a couple of years, and they get $5,000 in a Visa card as they come across, in addition to other food and clothing. What's 6 million people times 5,000? Because the government gives them that Visa card with that 5,000 in it. No, we pay the 5,000 because government doesn't have any money. Are you listening? Are you with me on that? Do you begin to understand this? Because this is really critical. Really critical. Because when we go vote, we need to get the people who are in control of the money at the what? City, county, state, and federal level to quit spending our money, because I want to pay for my light bill, and I want to fill my gas tank, and I want to keep the money for what I earn. I'm willing to help, but don't take it away to give it to everybody else. This is government, folks. This is what we're not taught in school. Lee Greenwood had a song that he put out called "I'm Proud to be an American." And in that refrain it says, "I'm proud to be an American where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died and gave that right to you." To me, to us. What? I'll never forget the men who died to keep us free, who gave that right to you and to me. It's our duty, our responsibility, our obligation. We don't get that in our schools. We got to get to the school. Teach your children. Talk to your neighbors. Folks, this is our country. It is great. We need to keep it great. But you can't give away the money and go fight a war in Ukraine and hand over $60 billion because the government doesn't have any money. It comes out of our paycheck. Oh, yeah, they can issue bonds and all that with credit cards, but who pays it? When it comes due, raise your hand. It's you and me out of our paychecks and out of our bank accounts. Let's take that to the bank, or take it to our understanding and teach our children, because that's our inheritance. Thank you. We'll talk a little bit now about where money is actually generated, and it's not from the U.S. Treasury. They can print it, but that's not where money comes from. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Now that we've talked about where government gets its money, that means it's from your paycheck, out of your bank account and mine. Let's talk about where does money come from. Now, many people believe that money comes from the government. As we've already discussed, government doesn't have any money. Yes, they can print money. Yes, they can create money digitally. But when they do, what happens is the value of money becomes less valuable. So, money comes from work. When you receive a paycheck from your employer, they've given you the value of your work. And when they do that, you then can take the value in money that you received and you can put it in the bank, spend it for your necessities of life, your living expenses, your groceries, your clothes, your vehicles, whatever. Now you have to see that when you receive the money, the government then quietly takes it away from you. We call it withholding. You don't even see the money that the government has taken away from you. So, now that we understand that you receive a paycheck from an employer, now do we understand that money comes from business? Which business? Walmart, Microsoft, Mobil Exxon, who knows? All corporations, all businesses, doctors, accountants, those in the profession, lawyers, those that provide services. Wherever you generate activity which has value, where you work, what's your value of your work? You say, well, I'm not going to work for $10 an hour. I want to work for $100 an hour. That's where money gets its value. It is you and me and our bank accounts that receive the money we have earned from businesses. So, why is that important? Well, a lot of people say that's not important. We use it. It is important because, as you can see now, when you elect somebody to go to your city council in your city, you want them to use the money that's collected from us and our paychecks and our bank accounts, use it for whatever is needed in the community, whether it's a school, roads, water, sewer, police, fire. That's where we want our elected officials to use the money. We don't want them to hand it to people who come in and say, I'm poor, I can't really, I don't want to work, and can you give me and my family lots of the money from the government? That's when you say no by your elected official, because you and I aren't going to be with city council. We're not going to be on the county commission, where the county has that same problem for all the county, for all the cities within the county. Or state level, that's right, same deal, because now all the counties are over funding through the central government, the main government for the state government. You elect those people. You want them to do the same thing. It's our money, we provide it, government otherwise has no money. And you say, well, you can build a school and they'll have bonds. And that way we can have sewer bonds, borrow money, say IOUs, people buy the bonds, and then the city, county, state can use the money. Well, they can, but those bonds come due. They're promissory notes. A bond means I promise to pay at a time certain with a certain interest rate over the duration of the loan, the bond. And because government has no money, you and me, we are going to pay those bonds. Yes, we'll pay for them slowly, but the government never has any money to pay off any bond. And if we miss that, we've missed the education, because it applies to the state and the federal government. Same deal. You want to send money over to Ukraine so they can fight their war? Well, that's just great, but government doesn't have any money. We're going to send the money. We don't have it, so we sell federal bonds to send money to the Ukraine. Just remember, we're going to pay the bonds when they come due. And, of course, it's refinanced, but you have to understand it's you and me. When we go to the polls and vote, we have to have that in our minds. Whoever we send must protect us from the government grabbing all our money and driving us into bankruptcy. Well, I've looked around for books, by the way, to find out how money works, and that's why I'm bringing you this message. One of the great books is by Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand wrote Capitalism, the Unknown Ideal. It's on Amazon. It costs about $9. Buy it. Ayn Rand was a Russian. She came over here in her 20s. She then was able to understand how money works. This book should be in every high school. You should have already read it. You should read it to your children. And if it's too difficult, it isn't. But there's only a few pages, like maybe 100 or so pages, that reviews how money works or what capitalism is. Let me say it this way so we understand what capitalism is. Capitalism means that we get to keep the benefit of what we produce or what we create. So, in many countries, they allow their citizens to create things, but they don't keep the benefit of it when they take it to the marketplace. Let's say that we've created a great vacuum cleaner that can vacuum all the rooms suddenly and remove all the dust and all the dirt from the floor, and we spent 20 years building it, and we bring it to the marketplace in the United States. We can sell it and get the benefit of the profit of it, the manufacturing and the sale. We keep the millions over the sales across the United States. In Russia or China, they give you a certificate. Oh, you spent 20 years developing a vacuum cleaner. Well, that's for the common good. The people love it. Now, go invent something else. Here's your certificate of being a great inventor. You only spent 20 years of your life, but here's a piece of paper. And you're not going to go invent anything else. So, capitalism should not be the terminology. It should be our country is the richest because each of us can create something, a service or a thing, take it to the marketplace. Yes, we'll pay a little tax, but we keep the benefits. We become very wealthy because the individual gets to keep it, not the government, who has no money. They can take it for the common good if we elect the wrong people. Now, do you understand money? So, and you have to keep this in mind. You can't work all your life. By the time you hit your 50s or so, you have better have some savings, because people, after you reach your 50s and maybe early 60s, they're not going to hire you anymore. And if you're making $2,000 a week when you're 59, and then you've spent it all, you've bought cars and things, and now you have no savings, what happens when you're 61? Well, there's Social Security. Barely keeps you alive. Doesn't even pay your rent. So now we have to learn money. Now that we know that where money comes from, it's from our business service, our bodies being dedicated to the employment, and they're paying us for our effort. Have to put it away. And when do you start? You start as soon as you start making money. Get yourself a savings account and put the money away, and you don't touch it. It grows, and it'll look great, because by the time you get to be 50, it could be close to $1 million. And wow, we can have all kind of wild vehicles and travel and big homes. No, you can, but you see, you have to maintain it. There's a cost to it, so you have to keep in mind, think clearly. What do you do with your money? You save quite a bit of it over your youth, so that in your old age, you'll be able to retire and not have to rely on working until you're 70, 80, and as long as you live. I want to bring this to you because I did not get this in high school. I wanted you to hear it from me. I've spent years learning this. Can you take it from here? Can you teach your children? Can you learn this? I hope you can. I hope this has been beneficial for you. So we'll be back again with other information on another video. So you all have a great life, and we'll see you later.